So today I want to tell you about my experience shooting the A7R II at a live concert in low light conditions. Now I ran it in this setup right here with the neck strap, the 85 14G master, and my Vallejo battery grip. This camera can still hold its own in those environments and take incredibly good pictures. It can be challenging to get a sharp image on the move with this setup, shooting close range with the 85 for the most part, but it also is that the autofocus still struggles in this low light situation and be able to find the subject's eye. It was very rare I was able to grab eye autofocus, and also just be able to grab the focus of the face, where I'd have to almost resort to spot focus to get it to actually focus where I wanted. More of my shots would be like focusing on the musician's guitar rather than their face, and that was a bit of a challenge for me with the A7R II. Now I know with the newer cameras such as like an A7 III, you'd be able to find focus much easier and quicker. So I will say that the A7R II did lack in the autofocus department, but not in image quality. So I want to go over a few of the tips that I had with this setup and how to shoot with it with the A7R II. So being it's the 85 in full frame mode, you have a pretty nice reach for most of the stage performances. And you can see in some of these photographs that, you have a good range of coverage, being able to do full body shots versus, up nice close. And I did have all access, so I could get on the stage and move around the musicians as I deemed necessary to get the shots I wanted to get. So I was able to shoot at fairly high shutter speeds, as well as in my ISO having it around 3200, 6400, and I wasn't having too many issues with noise, but I'm going to get into that in a minute. But what I did was I basically I'd throw this around my neck, and you hold the camera out tight. This allows you to get a nice steady pan or a nice steady image. I did do some video recording with this camera, as well as the photography side of it, but this allows you really to get a nice steady firm grip on the camera by being able to pull the shoulder strap tight to your neck like this. And when you can do that, you can get, using the monitor, you can get really fine-tuned images. And while holding this lens tight, you can still manipulate the buttons on the camera, and that allows you to go in and adjust your spot focus as you need to get the image you want. So let's go in and look at some of the images that I took with this camera. And what I want to show you is this program, Luminar Neo. Now, full disclosure, Luminar Neo did reach out to me and ask me to review this software. I have so far been very impressed with it and what it can do for the A7R II as far as noise performance and sharpening the images where needed. Now, one of the things with the A7R II, though, being that it's a high megapixel, 42 megapixel camera, it can be very easy to blur an image if you're not holding this camera nice and tight, or if your shutter speeds are just a little too low. IBIS does a great job in the camera to compensate, but it can't do it all. So what I want to do is go in with Luminar Neo, and we're going to check out a couple of this software's new features. Now with this program, I've actually been very impressed with it. It's opened up an avenue of photography that I've been missing, and part of it is because of just not necessarily laziness, but it's just how I'm very busy. Having stepped away from other programs for so long and stepping back into them with all the updates, it's incredibly overwhelming at times of what all the new features do and how they work. And I don't really necessarily have an interest in learning and taking the time to learn a new editing software or learn how to do adjustments. I don't have an interest in that. I just want to move some sliders, hit some buttons, and pop out my image and be done with it. And that's what Luminar Neo is giving me, is something that I can just simply use and get the results I want to get out of it. And I'm so far I've been very impressed with the results I'm getting. So let me hop in here and show you real quick. So I'm going to open up Luminar Neo and let's look at and review some of the images I shot. When you first open it up, you're going to get to this catalog page, and you're going to be able to just add some photos to it. Now, I really like the simple add photos, pull the file that you want to import. You can select the photos you want individually. You can, bring in the whole batch, whatever. And then you've got a simple menu system of all photos, sample images, single images, recently added, all laid out for you. So let's go in and let's find an image here to edit. Let's take a look at this guitarist here. Let's see where our focus is. And our focus is actually on, I think, somewhere around the hand here. Kind of missed. It's kind of soft on his hat. It's not the greatest image. But let's go and see what Luminar can do with this image. Luminar's got these new extensions out, and there's a whole lot of them, and they're actually really useful. But one of the things, the few couple of them that I really find are the most useful with the A7R2 is the noiseless AI and super sharp. Now let's click on the image here, and if we go to our catalog, we get a data of what we shot this thing at. So we shot that at f2.8, 1/200th of a second, ISO 5000. So this image is shot at ISO 5000 with the A7R2. If we go in here, you can see the grain a little bit. It's really not that bad. But let's see if we can clean this image up. We're going to click on the edit tab, and we're going to go to, let's go ahead and do a super sharpen and see what it does. And we're going to ask, it's going to ask, what do you want to do, low, middle, or high? We've got a lot. Let's just see what high does. We've got a lot to sharpen up because it was just out of focus a little bit. So let's go ahead and hit high. Now, it's going to do this little rendering thing. It follows your mouse around, and we're going to let it sit here for a second and see what it does. Let's see how long it takes to render this photo out. All right, so let's go in here to the Fender Telecaster guitar. Now it's looking a lot better right around there. Let's go ahead and look at the before and after. You see there's before and after. So it's moved a lot of what looks like motion blur out of the image there. As well as let's look at his shirt here. So we've got a shirt and his face. Let's look at the hat. Let's see before and after. So it's cleaned it up a little bit, but it's not 100% perfect on that image. We've shot this at ISO 5000 with 85. We're at f2.8 and 1/200th of a second. Let's see what Luminar will actually do with this photo with the AI tools we were given here in it. So let's click over to the edit tab. And you can see we've got some tools. We've got crop AI, enhanced sky, noiseless, super sharp, magic lights. Let's scroll in here to the guitar. Now it looks like we had a little bit of focus here on it, and it's not quite perfectly sharp, but it's close. But you see all this noise we've got in the image. It's plastered with noise from the ISO 5000. Let's just do a noiseless reduction on it and see the difference. Now we'll be able to see it right here. We'll click on noiseless, and it's going to give you some advice. It's going to say use the middle adjustment for this image. Now it's telling you, it's looking at the image and saying this image looks like it needs middle. You've got low, middle, and high. So let's go ahead and click on middle and see what it does. Now it's going to take a moment for it to go through and render the image and remove this noise from the image. So let's wait for a minute and see how long it takes. You get this cool, interesting little graphic showing you it's working. All right, that's quite the difference here. As we zoom in, we can see it's cleaned it up quite a bit. The noise is a lot less. And then let's take a look back at the original. So there's the original with all that grain and the shadow of his wrist. And around the guitar it's very grainy, and here you can see a lot of it's just removed out. Let's pop out of the image here. Let's look at before and after. It's not terribly noticeable between the two of them, but you can see how much cleaner it is around his forehead and the hairline compared to without the noise reduction and with it. So let's go ahead and we've got the noiseless set up. Let's check out the super sharp. So let's click on super sharp. And let's just do a middle adjustment on that as well and see what it does. So it's processing, follow my mouse around with the image, little graphic it does. Let's see what it pops up with super sharp. See if we can pull some of this detail back out of it. Alright, so here we can see a lot more detail in the hair and the forehead. Let's look back on it. You can see the blurriness to what it's doing with the super sharp. Now, if we back out of the image again, we can see this all looks really nice and clean. Let's look around the guitar again. We were having some issues around the strings here. So we can see it's sharpened a lot of that up. Let's look before and after. You can see it's straightened up quite a bit for us in bringing some motion blur back out of the image and sharpening it up, as well as you see we're losing the noise reduction when we check this too. We can see this is the original image with noise reduction and super sharp on. Okay. So now you can start editing your image. So let's take a look at some of this stuff. What we got? We got another tool called Magic Light down here. And what Magic Light does, it's going to take a point of light. Now this image doesn't have a whole lot, but maybe these red 2 lights. Let's just see what it does. So it picks up those red 2 lights in the corner, and you can set up the intensity, the size of it. We can spread it out. You can see it's relighting the glow. It relights the glow as you change the beam length. We got beam width. We can make them a little bit softer or really sharp. Let's go ahead and soften those up. How much glow there is. You can see the horizon or the atmospheric glow from these lights with the slider. We got cleanliness, is how much glow, no glow, and then how bright they are. We got a brightness. And then you can also change the number of beams. Right now we're set at 7. Let's put a whole bunch on there. You can move less. you can have some fun with it. So just something to throw some little pop to this image, and then you can of course rotate it, which doesn't do a whole lot for you because it's circular. We don't really worry too much about that. But that's another quick tool. Another one I really like is this Relight AI. Now let's click into Relight real quick, and let's take a look. You get these adjustments. Now it's going to take a moment for this to render the image, but once you have it rendered, it's actually rather quick to see the adjustments. So let's go ahead and we want to brighten up the near, and hopefully that'll grab our main subject, the bassist, and let's see if we can increase this light up. So we're going to go ahead and make an extreme adjustment to 100, and we should see it pop on screen. There's our adjustment. Now it's masked off him and the foreground of the floor very, very well. And now we can slide and adjust it. So we can go back to 0 where our original image is at. We can bring him up just a little bit. And you notice it does a really good job maintaining the shadow detail in his clothing, without going overkill. Obviously, we can make this an extreme where it just doesn't look natural or right. But we want to just bring him up just a little bit. And then let's go ahead and look at our background. And you see it's lightening everything in the background. Does brighter look initially good? No, let's pull it back a little bit. Now you can see that really makes them pop out of the image. And the mask line looks pretty good here. Let's take a look at, you can see that's pretty straight to me, it looks like. And then you can also adjust your depth of where it's bright. So we can bring some more light onto the stage, which I actually kind of like. It kind of, you can see it rolls back onto him a little bit. You can roll it through the stage in the background. So that's one of the other neat features about it. So let's go ahead and let's brighten up that back wall. It looks a little bit more natural in that sense. And let's pull back the main guitarist a little bit. All right, let's look at some atmosphere for this thing. So we got some fog. Let's add some fog to it. It's adding up that atmosphere out in the actual where the fog would be. So that kind of looks kind of cool. We can kind of change it up a little bit. We can do some depth across the whole screen. We'll leave it kind of in the middle there, and then how bright it is. We can change that density or that darkness of it. And then of course you got your standard traditional editing tools. Under the Develop tab, we've got our standard exposure slider. We can adjust exposure, double click, returns to 0. We've got a smart contrast, which is just, make a basic contrast adjustment. We've got our highlights. You got your traditional shadows, which is global adjustments, on the image. And we don't necessarily want to do all of that. Now, the Relight does a pretty dang good job of fixing and cropping your subject all automatically for you. You don't have to sit there and draw it in, do any of that. So let's take a look at before and after. There's our original image. There's our after image. Makes it a little bit more interesting. So I like it. Looks good. Let's go see what else we got here. Take a look at Pecos Hurley here. A nice sharp image shot at 2500, 1.4, 1/200th of a second. Lots of light in this image. Let's see what this one will do. We go to the Edit tab. Let's see what a Crop AI does on this. So we're just going to say Composition AI. So it's going to automatically compose, and it's saying we should have this composition right here versus, let's go back. There's our original, and I'll just hit Composition AI. It's going to look at the image and give you the best composition. Let's go ahead and apply that. And let's go ahead and go to, now noise isn't really an issue in this image, but let's just see what it does. So let's grab some noise out of this. See some noise in this light up here and in the brim of his hat a little bit. Let's go ahead and hit noiseless, and it's going to say it wants middle again for this image. Let's go ahead and click middle and see what it does to clean up the noise. All right, it smoothed out a lot of that detail roughness in there. And let's take a look before and after. Let's look at his hat. We're getting a lot of movement in his hat here. There's the hat after and before. So we definitely lose some detail in the hat and the texture of the cloth compared to with it off with that noiseless AI. But we're really digging deep into that pixel peep to see that kind of detail. Overall, does the image look better? Say it softened it up a little bit. Kind of took that's original. What's after? So not a huge difference, but it's subtle. And then let's go ahead and go to Relight AI. Change our brightness. Let's go ahead and let it process it a little bit here. Again, we're going to go to the extreme when it loads up. All right, so there's our extreme. And then let's darken the background a little bit. So we've got the background pretty much slammed out all the way. We could bring it back up, but it's kind of distracting. Let's go ahead and leave that all the way down. Let's take a look at the cropping and the cutout on this. It processes the image. That's pretty good. Can't say I can complain about that any. And then let's go ahead and change our depth, see what we got. We've got his hand lights up a little bit, brings up the shadow. Right, so let's go ahead and take a look before and after. And you can see how quickly that relight just automatically, you don't even see the mask happen, it just does it. It figures out what it is and it does it. So that looks really good like that. Let's turn that effect off. You can see just pulling the shadows down. I mean, look how perfect around the hair. See how perfect it's masking around the hair there. I mean, that would be a very hard adjustment in any other program, I think. And it's done it very well. You can see there's a little bit right up tight, but nothing really. You're getting, again, very nitpicky in that to see that difference. So original, and with that relight, we're dropping that background down. Got a nice clean image of him, and the background's now, much more subtle, making it pop that much more. All right, so that's my brief description of using Luminar Neo with my A7R2 files. If you're interested in Luminar Neo, go check them out. It is actually a really nice program, and for somebody like me who's incredibly busy and I just don't have the interest of that side of the process, I just want to take nice photos and spend my time shooting pictures and not sitting down editing all the time. As far as the photos go, I really do like the simplicity of the program and how quick and easy it is to make a really nice edit. So if you go over there and decide to get Luminar Neo and try it for yourself, they do offer a 7-day free trial as well as multiple purchase options for the program. You can do their basic Explorer package, which is just the basic editing software by itself, or you can step up to the Pro plan, which includes all the AI extensions that are available and also gives you 2 computers to license it to. And for those of you that don't like doing subscription plans, they do have for a lifetime package where you can buy just the editing software, or you can also include the extensions all for a one-time price. And also, if you do make that purchase, make sure to use my discount code. They're nice enough to share with you all. That code is going to be Malcolm Walker on checkout, and it'll save another 10%. So that's it for me today, guys. I really appreciate you sticking around at the end of this video and watching it. If you like this video, give me that thumbs up and hit that like button. It is so important. And if you haven't already, go down and click that subscribe button. It's very helpful. So with that, that's all I have for you guys today. We'll talk to you later. You guys have a good one.